Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to crochet these boho summer pants. They are very customizable. You can use any yarn of your choice and make this for any size. Now without further ado, let's get started with the tutorial. To make these pants, you can use any yarn you have in your stash, but I'm using cotton yarn. This is a medium yarn. In addition to the yarn, you are going to need 3 different size hooks, a 5.5, a 5 millimeter, and a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook. You are going to need a pair of scissors, yarn needle, stitch markers, and a measuring tape. The pants that I'm making are going to be a size medium, but according to your size and to the yarn size you are using and your hook size, these are the measurements you need to take to customize these pants for your own size and to your liking. So one, you are going to need the hip measurement. This is the widest part of the hip. Then you are going to need the depth, and you are going to measure from the front, like from your belly button or where you want your pants to sit, and then the crotch going up to the back where you want your back panel from the pants to sit. And then you are also going to need the inner thigh measurement, and you want to measure this up to the ankle. So the measurements seen more on paper. So you are going to take the hip measurement, and we are going to make the chain. You are going to divide the hip measurement through 2 and then take off 5 centimeters or 6 to your preference, to your liking. Then the depth of the crotch is right here. As you can see, we are going to have a front panel and a back panel, and the back panel is worked differently from the front panel to achieve this more curved section right here. Then you are going to add the length of the pants, and this is going to be the inner thigh length. After doing this, we are going to add the detailing on the sides of the panels, and then we are going to add detailing on the bottom of the pant leg, and then we are going to add the ribbing and a strap, a crochet cord, or if you want you can also use elastic band. So first we are going to make the front panel of the pants, and for this take the hip measurement, divide this through 2 and take 5 centimeters off. So go ahead and make the chain according to your measurements. So I've chained a total of 46. Now starting into the second chain from the hook, we are going to make 1 foundation single crochet ropes. Now from now on we are going to start working in double crochet rows. So for this I'm going to chain only 2 to have smaller gaps at the beginning of the row. You can chain 3 if you want. So my chain of 2 is going to be my first double crochet, and then I am going to make 1 double crochet on top of each stitch from the, and I'm going to make 3 rows of double crochet in total. Okay, so I've worked 3 rows of double crochet in total. Now from this row, starting with the 4th row, I'm going to start increasing into the middle. So chain 2, this is my first double crochet, and since I have a total of 45 double crochets, I'm going to divide this through 2, so I have 22 on each side, and I'm going to be left with 1 stitch into the middle. So I have 5. I'm going to double crochet my first 22. So once you've double crochet the first half of your panel, whatever number this will be, so in my case I have 22. Now into the next stitch I'm going to make a double crochet increase, but I'm going to make 3 double crochets into the same stitch. So a 3 double crochet increase into the next. Now you are going to double crochet the other half of your stitches. It should be the same number, so in my case 22 double crochets again. And now this row you are going to repeat until you reach the crotch of your pants, of your measurement. So chain 2, first double crochet, make 1 double crochet on top of each double crochet until you reach your increase point. And here is the increase. So for each row you are going to do the same. Here you have your 3 double crochets increase. Into the second double crochet, which is the one in the middle, you are going to make your 3 double crochets increase. So 1, 2 and 3, and then you are going to keep going with your double crochet to make the other half of the panel. So the next row I'm going to have 24 double crochets, then 1 increase, 24 double crochets, since you are increasing in each row with 2 double crochets, 1 on each side of the panel. So I'm going to do this off camera and meet you back again once I've reached the measurement. 15 double crochet rows in total, so 3 without increasing, and 12 by making increases in the middle. Now you are going to put a stitch marker into the middle of your increases, and this stitch right here is going to stay in untouched, and from now on we are going to work on the legs, and they are going to be worked separately from each other, of course. So this portion right here, this section, it's going to be one side of the leg, and this one right here, it's going to be the other leg. And we are going to continue by making double crochet rows until you reach the length of the pants. So one pant leg done. I ended up doing 40 double crochet rows in total, and now when I'm measuring it, it should be 64 centimeters, since the pant it's going to pull down. Now to make the second pant leg, you are going to grab your yarn again and make a slip knot. And here is where you have your stitch marker. I'm going to lift this stitch and join my yarn into the very next stitch. Let me pull in. So join with a slip stitch and then chain 2. this is going to be your first double crochet, and then you are just going to be making 1 double crochet on top of each double crochet from the previous row, and you want to make sure that you have the same amount of rows for your second pant leg. Okay, so this is the front panel of your pants. Now to make the back panel, you are going to start exactly the same. You are going to chain the same amount of chains, which in my case it was a 46, to then have 45 stitches in total. You are going to make 1 row of single crochet. This is going to be your foundation row, and then you are going to make your rows without increases. So in my case I had 3 rows of double crochet with no increases, and then I had on the front panel 12 rows with increases. Now for the back panel I've made 10 rows of double crochet with increases into the middle stitch, and the last 2 rows are going to be different from the front panel. So go ahead and start your second last row with a chain of 2, and then make 1 double crochet on top of each double crochet until you reach your middle stitch. Okay, so I've reached the middle stitch right here. In there you are going to make a double crochet as usual, but instead of making the increase you are going to chain 6, and then starting into the second chain from the hook you are going to single crochet down this chain. So you should have 5 single crochets in total. 3, 4 and 5. So this is what you should have now. Now to have the same stitch count on both sides of the panel for both legs, you want to make a double crochet into the same stitch right here. But first we are going to slip stitch by going under the front loop, to say so, of your last stitch that you've made, and under the loop, under the bar under, and make a slip stitch like this. This way you are not going to have a gap. And now make your double crochet in there. Now you are going to take 3 stitch markers and mark the first stitch you've made here, and you are going to mark this stitch down here, which was the last stitch on this side, and you are going to place a stitch marker into this stitch. We just want to make sure that we are not going to forget these 2 stitches on the turning row. And now you are going to continue as usual by making your double crochets. So this is your second last row. Once you're at the end of the row, you are going to chain 2, turn your work, and make 1 double crochet on top of each double crochet, and I'll meet you back once I'm here. Okay, so I'm on my last row before splitting for the pant legs. Now in here where the stitch marker is, you want to make 1 double crochet. You can take this stitch marker out. This was just that we don't forget to crochet this stitch. Now you have 5 stitches to work in. You are going to make 1 double crochet into the first 3 stitches. 1, And into the next 3 stitches we are going to make a 3 double crochet increase. So into the first stitch a increase, a 3 double crochet increase. This is going to be the stitch in the middle, so you can take the stitch marker out and make 1, 2 and 3, and put the stitch marker back into the second increase like this, and then your third increase, 1, 2 and 3. So this is the stitch that it's going to stay untouched to sew together with the front panel. So this was your last increase. I've made 1, 2, 3, yes, and now you are just going to continue by making your double crochets on top of each double crochet from the previous row till the end, and this was the last row to create the increase for the back panel. I'm going to finish this off camera and then I'm going to show you how this is going to look like. And don't forget to make your double crochet right here where the stitch marker is. So I'm going to take this out and make my double crochet. Okay, so let me give you now a quick look on how the back panel it's going to look like. Since on the back panel you need more space for the bum. Now from now on you are going to continue working on the pant leg separately from each other, and this stitch is going to stay untouched, and you are going to make your double crochets until here. When you are joining on the other side, you are going to start joining your yarn into this stitch and make your rows for the pant leg. And yes, you are going to have on the back panel more stitches than you had on the front panel. And if you take a look at your store-bought pants, you are going to notice that the back panel, also the leg, is wider than the front panel. Now I'm going to finish the back panel off camera and then meet you back again to show you how to work next. To make the sewing on the inner part of the pants, you are going to lay the back panel and the front panel of your pants, the right side facing each other, and you are going to start sewing right here where the stitch marker is, and you are just going to match your rows. So you are sewing only the inner part. I'm going to use my yarn needle here and I'm going to go under the bars of my stitches and whip stitch this all the way down. I'm going to do this off camera, and once I've done that, I meet you back to show you how to work the sides of the pants. So I've already closed one side of the pants. This is how it's going to look like. Now I'm going to make with you the second pant leg. And to do this, you want to start on the right side of your work. You are going to start on one pant leg, like this is my front pant leg. I'm going to start at the bottom of the leg, and on the back side panel I'm going to start up here at the waistline, lower waistline, since I want to have my stitches on the right side of my work. So for this, go ahead and take another color. I'm going to take this one right here, and we are going to make first 2 rows of single crocheting. And to attach a yarn, I'm going to attach with a single crochet right away, and to pick up your stitches on the side of the panels, you are going to make another single crochet into the same double crochet, and then go to the next double crochet row and make 2 single crochets. The next double crochet row, 2 single crochet, and that's it. This is all you need to do to pick up your stitches, and this is going to be your first single crochet row, and then you are going to chain 1, turn your work, and make another single crochet row, and I'll meet you back again once I have my 2 single crochet rows done. Once you've made your 2 rows of a single crocheting into the same color, you are going to change color again. So take your 3rd color, and you are going to start right away with 1 single crochet, and then I'm going to make 1 single crochet into the next 4 stitches. So I want to start with 5 single crochets at the beginning. And now we are going to make a spike stitch. So this stitch right here is going to be a spike stitch. So I'm going to leave the yarn needle in there so that you can see what I'm making. I'm going to go now down my very first row that I've made with my 2nd color here. Pull your loop high, so that your work, it's not going to shrink, not going to pull in. Yarn over and pull through. Now this stitch right here is the stitch that you are going to skip basically. The next single crochet, it's going to be worked into this stitch, since this stitch right here is the spike stitch. And now I like to make 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now this stitch right here, it's going to be again a spike stitch. So this one right here. So I'm going to go with my crochet hook under my very first single crochet row, pull up a loop and pull high, and finish your single crochet like this. So this is the spike stitch. This is the stitch that you want to work in next. So again, 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and now a spike stitch. So going under the very first row that I've made, pull up a loop, pull high, make your single, finish your single crochet, and then this is the next stitch you are going to work in, and this is going to be your pattern repeat for the entire row. This is also going to be your last row. Once you're at the end of the row, you're going to chain 1, fasten off, and then make also on the other side the row with the spike stitch. Once you've done that, you are going to slip stitch these sides together on the wrong side of your work. So you are going to turn your pant the inside out and slip stitch all the way up to have your side seaming. You can also use your yarn needle and whip this all the way up. Now to finish off the the leg, we are going to make 2 more rounds. So I have a picot round, and there are actually 3 rounds, so 2 in blue and 1 in white. So go ahead and take whatever color you prefer. So I'm going to take my white one and then make a slip knot. And now I'm going to join on one side. I have here the inside seaming, and you are going to join with a single crochet into the front loop only of your stitch, and you are going to make 3 single crochets in total. So 1 into the next stitch, the front loop only, 2, the next stitch, front loop only, 3. And now we are going to make 1 picot. For this you are going to chain 2 and then go back into your single crochet under the front loop of your single crochet, under the bar of, under the post to say so, and make 1 slip stitch. And then you will have again 3 single crochets worked into the front loop only, 1, 2 and 3, chain 2 to make your picot, and then go back into your single crochet and make 1 slip stitch. So this is all you need to do for this round. So repeat 3 single crochets, chain 2 and make your picot, slip stitch into the single crochet, and then again into the front loop only, 3 single crochets and make your picot. I'll meet you back once I'm at the end of the round. Okay, so I'm now at the end of the row. I'm going to slip stitch to my very first single crochet that I've made, chain 1 and fasten off. Now the next row, I'm going to take this blue right here, so take whatever color you prefer, make a slip knot, and we are going to join now into the back loop of the stitches from our last double crochet row. So this round right here we've worked only into the front loop. Now we are going to use this back loop to make this round. So join your new yarn with a slip stitch, then chain 1, this doesn't count as a stitch, and we are going to make 1 round of half double crocheting into the back loop only. So this is the first stitch, then taking the next back loop, make 1 half double crochet, and you want to have a multiple of 6. So if you need to add 1 or 2 stitches, go ahead and do this, or you can take off 1 or 2 stitches. So the multiple should be 6. At the end of the round, you are going to slip stitch to your very first half double crochet, chain 1 to step up, this doesn't count as a stitch, and into the same stitch make 1 single crochet. Now we are going to skip 2 stitches, and into the third stitch make 6 double crochets. So we are making a scallop edging, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and then again you are going to skip 2 stitches, and into the third one make your single crochet. So this is your pattern repeat. Skip 2 stitches, into the third one make 6 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and then skip 2 single crochet into the next. Repeat all the way around. At the end of the round you are going to end with one of these shell stitches right here. Then you are going to have 2 stitches left, and just slip stitch to your very first single crochet, chain 1, fasten off, weave in your loose ends. Okay, now it's time to make the waist of your pants. So go ahead and take your 5mm crochet hook, the color you prefer to make these rounds right here. We are going to make first 1 round of single crocheting. So you are just going to make single crochets into your starting chain. I'm going to finish this off camera and then meet you back again. At the end of the round, you are going to slip stitch to your very first single crochet and chain 1 to step up. Now we are going to work again into the front loops of our stitches. We are going to make 1 slip stitch into the same stitch, and now you are going to chain 3. We are going to make a modified slip picot stitch. Go ahead and slip stitch into the same stitch, and then slip stitch the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, chain 3, slip stitch into the same stitch, and this is your pattern repeat. So slip stitch 3, 1, 2, 3, chain 3, slip stitch into the same stitch, and then slip stitch 3, 1, 2, and 3. And this is how you are going to work all the way around. At the end of the round, slip stitch to the first stitch, chain 1, fasten off. Okay, now to make the waistband, the ribbing, I'm going to do this with white, and you are going to switch to your 4.5mm crochet hook. So if you are using another yarn size, yeah, just go to a smaller hook size. Make a slip knot and join somewhere on the side. I'm going to start right here, since we are going to use the back loops of our stitches. So we've slip stitched into the front loops only. Now we are going to use the back stitches again and join with a slip stitch, and I'm going to chain 6, 4, 5 and 6. Starting into the second chain from the hook, make 1 single crochet and 1 single crochet into the next 4 stitches. So we are going to work over 5 stitches in total, and we are just making the ribbing single crochet into the back loop only. Now you are going to go and slip stitch the next 2 back loops of your single crochet row you've made. So in my case is with blue. Turn your work. You are going to skip the first 2 stitches and single crochet the next 5 into the back loop only. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the last one. And what I like to do is making a regular single crochet. You can go only into the back loop, that's also fine. This is my own preference. The last stitch that's on the edging, making a regular single crochet. Now chain 1, turn your work again, and either working the very first stitch into the back loop only or making a single crochet, and the next 4 you'll need to work into the back loop only to create this ribbing effect. and then you are just going to slip stitch the next 2 stitches, so the back loops, 1 and 2, and then turn your work again, skip the first 2 and single crochet your 5 stitches, so into the back loop only, and the last one a regular single crochet, chain 1, turn your work and make again your 5 single crochets. So you are going to work like this all the way around your waistline, and then you are actually done. You are just going to slip stitch to close the waistline and you are done. If you want, you can make a very long chain to have a strap and pull this through the last stitches, or you can insert elastic band, so this is to your preference. I'm going to finish this off camera. I'm also going to block my pants and then come back to show you the finished result. Thank you all for watching and for joining me today yet for another tutorial. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next tutorial. Bye!